Thank you for staying tuned. You're watching Wake Up Nigeria. Today on Wellness, we have Oluwatobi oshunkeye, a seasoned expert in quality healthcare delivery with over 8 years in clinical practice, experience, and a proven track record in healthcare management, operational efficiency, and clinical governance. Now, she is passionate about digital and population health, and we will today discuss telemedicine, the future of affordable healthcare in Nigeria. It's such a pleasure to have you in the studio with us. How are you doing?
I'm so grateful to be here and I'm so pleased.
Awesome. So when we talk about telemedicine, quite a number of people still aren't aware of what it is about. Could you shed light on that?
Yeah, so telemedicine is the ability to use digital technologies to provide services for patients. So it's connecting doctors to clients to patients using digital technology. So video calls, mobile apps, phone calls, so that you can see these patients remotely. You don't necessarily have to make that trip to the hospital. And in cases where people can't get to specialties in their location, they can actually use telemedicine to reach out to specialists in other locations. So it's just basically connecting patients with physicians remotely.
Now, there are different sides to this. There's the monetization, and there's also the accessibility. Now, in Nigeria, I dare say that this has been in practice already, right?
Yes, it has.
Okay, so how successful has it been?
Yeah, I'd say that the COVID year made it very clear that it's something that we need in this climb. So before now, people had their cultural bias towards it, and then people just had this endurance saying, oh, I want to see my doctor physically. But when COVID came on board, and then it was really difficult because of social distancing and trying to reduce the spread of the disease, people had to actually consult their doctors online without necessarily going to their physical location. So I think that that was the year where I would say that it really piqued people's interest in telemedicine in Nigeria. And ever since then, it's been from one step to the other.
So when things like this are introduced, there are always challenges. What challenges so far would you say have come up, and in what way have you been able to scale through?
So I would say that one of the challenges that we have in Nigeria would be digital connectivity. So internet connectivity can be really poor. So you're on a phone call or you're on a mobile call, on a mobile app, whatever, and then the connectivity is really bad. Or you're on a video call and then you can't even see your physician because the network connectivity is really bad. And another one is the cultural bias, like I mentioned, where people are saying, oh, I'd rather see my doctor, oh, I'd rather travel that mile and go see the doctor in person. And then they just feel like, oh, I don't know, there's going to be misdiagnosis. Are you sure the person is going to understand what I'm saying? Are you sure the person knows what he's doing and all that? Because in our culture, we size up people a lot. So you want to see your doctor, you want to see what he or she looks like, and then you decide if you want this person to be your doctor or not. So that's one of the challenges that we have, because people say, oh, I can't see the doctor. How am I sure he knows what he's doing? How am I sure she knows what she's doing? So those are the challenges that we have. And how have we been able to bridge it? I think that internet connectivity is a lot better than it was a couple of years ago. So things are getting better. And then even with the cultural bias, educating people, letting them know that this is the way to go. And then letting them know that it saves you that trip to the hospital. You spend hours in traffic trying to get to a doctor in VI, for example, when you can actually speak with him over the phone and get some care before then. And at some point, if you now decide that, oh, I still want to go in physically, but at least you've gotten that care. Or sometimes it's not even within the locality where you live. Sometimes it's international doctors. So you want to get a second opinion for a medical case. You've seen your doctors and then you want to get another opinion. So it's always good. And so over time, people are open to the idea more than they were some years ago.
Now, some people have certain reservations because of safety and security, particularly of their personal details. How is that being managed?
Yes, so with the technology that is advanced now, there's end-to-end encryption of data. There's also what you call cloud storage. So we know that medical data is really very sensitive. You don't want people's personal data out there. And then there's the Nigerian Data Protection Regulation Body that's looking at all that. So most people that are platforms where you have telemedicine platforms, they make sure that there's end-to-end encryption of people's data. Then they make sure that they follow the regulatory policies. And that way, people's privacy, people's data is safe.
Now, when you compare it with the physical visits, would you say telemedicine is more affordable, really?
Yes, it's more affordable.
How
Even
so?
if you think about it from the client's perspective, for example, you don't have to leave your house. Transportation cost is already taken away because you're not commuting from one place to the other. You're seeing your doctor remotely. So I think that already cut down the cost. And then for the hospitals, your setup is different because you're not having to set up a office and then you have to buy space. Of course, you'll have a little office where you see them, but imagine if you had to set up from ground up in a location compared to when you're setting just a little remote office to attend to people online. So I think that the cost, yes, it brings down the cost for healthcare.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking is, say for example, somebody goes to the hospital and consultation fees are like, say, 3,000 to 5,000 naira just for consultation. And what, does it mean that when you're using the telemedicine option, it's probably cheaper? It's maybe 2,000 naira in quotes, or is it 10,000 naira? Which one costs more?
Okay, so
because
when
the doctor has to factor in use of data and certain other exigencies. So would you say it's still more affordable?
Yeah, when it comes to cost, there are a lot of costs that would go down, not necessarily the cost of consultation per the doctor. So, for example, the doctor's cost might not go down if we are being realistic because it's the same knowledge and, of course, time. So the doctor's cost might not go down, but cost of other things like electricity, setting up an office would go down. Because if you're walking into a traditional hospital, they'll put the cost of diesel, cost of every other thing into consideration. But if a doctor is seeing you from his private home, for example, he doesn't necessarily have to factor in cost of diesel and all that because anyways, he was in his home and he was going to power his home anyways. So I think that on that end, the cost comes down. Then if the doctor has to commute from his house to the hospital to see you traditionally, that cost of transportation is involved on both parties, both the doctor's side and both the client's side. So I think that at the end of the day, it reduces the costs. Yes, it does.
So the future of telemedicine in Nigeria, what would you say you are envisaging? What are your expectations? What are your hopes for it?
Also, what I'm envisaging is that in a couple of years, the uptake will be a lot better than it is right now. And with a lot better uptake, I feel like people will start to do more than we are doing right now. So right now, the services that we are offering, in a couple of years, the services will broaden, and then we'll be offering more services. And then I also think that we'll be collaborating with international doctors more than we are. We're already doing that now, but I know that we'll be doing way more than that now. And I'm also envisaging that in a couple of years, the issues that we have with internet connectivity and some other digital platforms will be a lot better. And so the uptake and generally telemedicine the future is very bright. Yes, very bright in Nigeria.
With the use of telemedicine improving daily, how does it affect the ratio of patients to doctor? I ask this because on average, a doctor is supposed to see about, say, 15 to 20 patients a day, right? Now, because of telemedicine, you see some physically. Now, we have the interconnectivity problems as well as others. Does it not affect the people you're seeing physically, or how is it being managed now?
Okay, so I would say that telemedicine is a department on its own. So for platforms that offer telemedicine in Nigeria right now, a lot of them offer just telemedicine. And then for platforms that offer both telemedicine and then the physical contact, they offer it in different departments. So the doctor that is doing telemedicine is not the same doctor that is seeing patients physically, because it would be really unrealistic to expect that somebody goes online, sees somebody, jumps to another patient physically.
Absolutely.
So it's not going to work that way. So for what we have right now is the fact that those that are doing telemedicine are facing telemedicine, and those that are doing physically are facing physically. But what I would say is that, in my opinion, it allows us to see more people because now the doctor on telemedicine can attend to more people. And then for somebody in rural area that can access some physicians or some specialist care, they can now do that because I can stay in whatever state I am, whatever rural area I am, and I can access a neurosurgeon if we don't have that in my location. So I feel like it's helping patients more, and it's increasing the quality of care that patients are getting.
Then when consultations take place, how do the patient is referred to a lab for tests? How do you do all of those?
Yeah, so a lot of the telemedicine platforms incorporate all of that. So you have platforms that have wellness checks on their platform. They have partnerships with diagnostic labs. So when that hospital, for example, sees the patient, or a telemedicine platform sees the patient, and the patient needs to run some tests, they just send to their partner diagnostic labs. And then most of them even have partner hospitals that if you now need to get a physical consultation, you walk in there.
Oh,
Yes, so
okay.
most times, telemedicine is not where it starts and stops. Sometimes it starts there, and then we now have to move from that online platform to a physical location.
Depending on the gravity
of the situation. Exactly.
Okay.
So most times, I would say that telemedicine is really good when it comes to chronic care. So you have diabetes, you have hypertension, you're already seeing a doctor physically, they've seen you, they've assessed you, you've done all your tests. Now for follow-up visits, you can now talk to your doctor.
And for emergencies as well.
Yes, so something happens in the night, you really need to talk. You get on your telemedicine platform, you get a doctor to see you. And if they feel like, oh, you still need to walk into the hospital, they'll do that referral. So the referral is very seamless from the digital platforms all the way to a physical location if you have to.
It's quite good to know that this is already a force to reckon with in the Nigerian medical industry. I'm actually really pleased about it. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, at this point, we need to take a break. You're watching Wake Up Nigeria. Stay with us, we'll be right back.